Sacsayhuaman is the guide River for today. Hello. River was just telling us a little bit about the site. It probably wasn't originally called Sacsayhuaman. Sacsayhuaman mean happy falcon. Originally we think it was called Sacsayhuaman, which means head crowded with knowledge, because it was at the top of Cusco, on top of Cusco, as you can see in the city of Cusco on the way here. He was also saying that originally it wasn't probably called Peru, actually, the country, because that was from the Spaniards. It was originally called Tawantinsuyu, which is a little bit difficult to pronounce, but that's probably why the Spanish changed it to Peru. But we're just looking at here, and we're just going to continue on to the next place. Right, catch up with you in a bit. Bye. At the plaza, you can see the structure just behind over there. That's the female temples. Here is the male temple. So we had both male and female, and the plaza in between. And up there, on top of the temples, was where the Incan royalty and the priests were, and down here was all the common people, all the common Inca. And down here you can see some of the lower walls and the foundations. Right, let's continue. Here is the second platform. You can see the bigger stones are the original stones, and there's only 3 of them. All this has been reconstructed, and River was just saying that there was another like 8 meters for the wall in the Incan times. Now we only have 1 meter, and as you can see, only 3 original stones. It's estimated that only at this site, Sacsayhuaman, only 30% survives today. 70% was used for other building materials and was destroyed by the Spanish and the Inca. Right, let's continue on. Of the examples, here is limestone, and here is andesite. These rocks, as you can see, are used in the construction. River was just saying on the female bits, they would worship the Pachamama, the Mother Earth, Mama Kulia, which was the Mother Moon, and Mama Kocha, which was the Mother Ocean, Mother Water. And then here, where we're going up onto the male one, they would worship the creator god Wiracocha. It's actually got a longer name than Wiracocha, but it's quite hard to pronounce, so we just tend to use Wiracocha for easiness sake. Let's see what we see when we get up the top. Alright, catch up with you in a bit, bye. So River was just saying that from the plaza there was 3 platforms up, each 8 meters in height, 25 feet or so. And then here we have Muyuk Maka, which was the main or one of the main temples. River was just saying it rose up to 100 feet. So if you can imagine, you've got 3 lots of 25 to 75, and then another 100 feet. So from the plaza, it was 175 meters tall, and they think that it was at the height of the Incans when it was used. It was covered in gold, so it would have shined in the sunlight. Here, where we're going, we have the remains of the second tower, and then where the trees are, just here, there is the remains of the 3rd tower as well. And then you can see Cusco, the panorama of Cusco just behind. I'll catch up with you in a bit. Bye. Here is the creator god, the Wiracocha doorway. This one is dedicated to the architect of the site. River was just saying that the work here was started by the 9th Incan emperor, Pachakutek, in 1430s, and it finished in the 1520s, so approximately 90 years of work went into creating this the site of Sacsayhuaman. So here we can see part of the drainage. This stone sticking out is not original. Originally the water ran down, and you can actually see a line in the middle where the water eroded the stone away, so you can actually see where the original drainage system was. And these zigzag walls that you saw earlier and that you're looking at now, River was saying that they built them zigzag because it represented the snake, which is one of the 3 most sacred animals. If you remember of the Inca, it was the condor, the puma and the snake. It's one of the most important things. So that's why they built them in zigzag shape. Right, catch up with you in a bit. Bye. Now looking at the lower walls, as you can see, some huge blocks. This one right here in the corner that comes in is actually the biggest stone here at Sacsayhuaman. It's not the complete stone, because there was apparently, according to River, there was 3 feet above it, and then there's 12 feet under the ground as well as the foundation. So you're looking at a pretty big stone. Apparently it weighs 168 tonnes, and it's just one solid block, which for them to carry from the quarry somewhere over there to here, that's pretty impressive given the size and the weight of that stone. As you can see, some pretty bigger stones, and apparently Rivers was saying that there is a stone just behind this temple which is even bigger, which is apparently 1,000 tonnes. So that's what's going to be very, very big stone. Apparently the Incas carved tables and ritual platforms on that single rock behind us. Really impressive sight. Really impressed with it so far. Alright, catch up with you in a bit. Bye. Pointing out something interesting. If I zoom in on the camera, here it looks like a series of rocks, looks like a bit like a footprint. You have the start here, and it goes up, and you've got the toes here. Quite possibly back in the time it would have been painted, because obviously it was designed that way. Very special. And over here you can see we've got some alpacas roaming across. They are domesticated there for the park. Absolutely amazing. One interesting thing thinking about the alpacas that River was saying was that when a llama and alpaca like interbreed, shall we say, they produce something called guanaco, which is like a bit like a llama and tall like a llama, whereas the alpaca is shorter. And then what's interesting is that once the guanaco interbreed or breeds again, then their offspring will still be will then go back to either llama or alpaca. And it's interesting because obviously, like when we mate a horse and a donkey, we have a mule, and the mule is sterile, can't produce offspring, whereas the guanaco is not sterile, and it can interproduce. And like I say, it creates either an alpaca or a llama. And he was saying that that they produce different types of wool. Like llama wool is a bit harsh, alpaca's much softer, guanaco is very soft, and then there's also another animal called vicuña, which produces the softest wool. You would have seen earlier when we went to Coca-Cola, which was the weaving place, you would have seen some of the wool being passed around. Right, let's just walk on and enjoy some more of the views. And just here you can see Cristo Blanco, the Christ statue where we were the other day. Right, catch up with you in a bit. Bye. Just pointing out here, the shapes of the stones are shaped like a llama. You've got this one here is the tail. This is the body. This stone with the hole for the drainage is the neck. Here is the head, and then this is the ear. So you've got the head and the ear, neck, and then the llama body, like sitting down. Very interesting. I didn't notice that at first. So we're now leaving Sacsayhuaman, and we're going to go move on to our next Inca site on the tour. Just for vlogging purposes, here is a photo of Sacsayhuaman from above, so you can see what it looks like from above. Okay, let's move on. We are arriving at the second Inca site of today. It's called Tambo Machay. River, what does Tambo Machay mean?
We would prefer you remember Temple of Water.
Temple of Water.
The translation exactly says the place for resting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's a Temple of the Water, so it would be better.
Okay. Okay. So we're just on our way walking to the site now. River was just saying that Tambo Machay was probably not its original name. Possibly its original name was Quinoa Puku, which means quinoa spring. Interesting. So would that mean, like, obviously this is the place where they grow a lot of the quinoa? Was it?
This is a location for producing quinoa. This is the high altitude, the right place to produce it. Another 12,000 feet is the nice place for quinoa that has a lot of proteins.
Yes.
Phytoproteins.
And I must admit, quinoa does taste amazing. Love quinoa. So here we are arriving at the temple. River was just saying that this was the property of the 10th Incan Emperor, Pachakutek's son, Tupac Yupanqui was the name of the 10th Incan Emperor. And River was just saying as well about how Tupac Yupanqui actually went on an expedition for 3 years, was it? 3 years over the Pacific Ocean to Polynesia, the Polynesian islands, and on the way back to Peru he had to go via Easter Island, and there's a little corner on Easter Island where he ordered some construction, and the local people were saying it's not our work, it's not our work. It was ordered by God, which was probably Tupac Yupanqui. As you can see here, if I zoom in, you've got more still working water channels, and you can see it cascading down like so. Right, let's move on. One more look at the Temple of the Water. As you can see, that's why it's called the Temple of the Water. However, what is interesting is that it probably comes from an underground spring or a canal, but people don't actually know where the canal or spring is. It was only known by the Royal Incans, so it's a little bit of a mystery. Very interesting. Let's carry on. So River was just saying that in 1947 there was the famous Kon-Tiki expeditions, which were recreating Tupac Yupanqui's 1470 expedition to Polynesia. It was done by a guy called, who was it, River? Again, sorry, just for the video.
Tor Heyerdahl.
And he reached Polynesia in 92 days. Via which stream was it again? The
92 days.
Yeah, which stream did he?
The Marin Current.
The Marin Current.
The Humboldt Marin Current.
The Humboldt Marin Current. And apparently the actual boat he used, the Kon-Tiki boat, is actually in Oslo now, isn't it?
It is.
In Kon-Tiki Museum. And it's interesting because Wirikocha, the creator god, is also known as Kon-Tiki here as well. It's a bit of a longer name which I can't produce, but I'll just keep it as Kon-Tiki for short. Right, we'll move on. See you in a bit. Bye. Okay, here we're looking at the Incan site of Pucupakara. It was a military fort, and just under the line of trees here there is the Inca Trail, which crosses over the road and then goes up over the mountain roundabout there. And if you have a look at the windows, you can see that they're looking at the Inca Trail, and it was used as a checkpoint for the Incas for the access to the Inca Trail to the Sacred Valley. Alright, let's move on. Okay, I forgot to mention, guys, when we got to Pucupakara, Pucupakara's name means Red Fort, and we're now at our next site, which is it's called Keno. It's the second most important site after Sacsayhuaman. Alright, catch up with you in a bit. Bye. Okay, I've just asked River. The name Kenko, sorry, not Keno, Kenko is the site. Kenko means maze, labyrinth. So it's going to be very interesting to see this site for me. Alright, see you in a bit, bye! So we're just going into a cave, and this is where once the Incan people were mummified, they would be put into the cave in the idea that they would be reborn through the other side. And River was just saying, interestingly, that when they were mummifying the body, they would remove like all the there's a niche here.
Knives, blades, cuts.
Yeah, when the Incans were mummifying the body, they took up the. So now we're just going out the other side. So in a way, we, just like the Incans, we are being reborn into the world in new life. What I was trying to say was that River was saying that when the Incans mummified the bodies, they took out the heart and all the other wet organs, but left the brain, unlike the Egyptians, who removed the brain but kept the heart. So the Incans and Egyptians were opposites for mummification purposes. But now we are back outside, having been reborn, quote unquote, and one more look over the city of Cusco. So welcome back, guys. We've just arrived back at the hotel. I've just been dropped back off. Just wanted to do a quick history lesson on the Inca, because I think it would be nice to get this in the vlog. So basically the 9th Incan emperor was Pachacutec, who built Machu Picchu, and he ruled until 1471, 1472 or so. And then it passed, the leadership passed down to his son Tupac Yupanqui, the 10th one, which we heard about earlier. He ruled from 1471 to 1493. I've got the phone here for the facts, so that's why. I'm not that much of an expert, but
he ruled from 1471 to 1493, and then it passed to the 11th Incan emperor, which was Huayna Capac, which means like young and great. He ruled from 1493 to 1524, it says here, and then after that, there was the 12th Incan emperor, which was known as Huasca, and he had a brother called Atahualpa, who's quite famous. You may have heard of Atahualpa, and it's interesting because the brothers were fighting round about that time, and that was when the Spanish arrived. So there was a lot of civil unrest, and then like I say, the Spanish conquistadors arrived. So the Spanish chose the perfect time, basically. Huasca ruled from 1527 to 1532, and was basically fought with his brother Atahualpa, and Atahualpa then took over the power and ordered Huasca to commit his own suicide, which Huasca had to do because obviously the Incan emperor was seen as a god, and you don't disobey the god. Then, like I say, next was Atahualpa, who ruled pretty much from 1532 to 1533, and he was beheaded in the main square Plaza de Armas in Cusco by the conquistadors. And then after that you had the final brother of Huasca and Atahualpa, which was Manco Capac, who is the one who fled Cusco into the Sacred Valley and then onwards to Vilcabamba. And when the Spanish arrived in Vilcabamba, there was a big battle, and basically that's Manco Capac was defeated, and then that was the end of the Incan Empire as we know it. Alright, I'm now going to go on to Plaza de Armas and start to try and see some of these museums. I'm going to try and do the Inca Museum and then the Machu Picchu Museum, and then depending on time I might need to be back here to catch my bus to the next location on our holiday tour. Alright, catch up with you in a bit. So here is a model of Machu Picchu. Here is the modern entrance. Here's the farming terraces where we sat at the start. Now we're moving into the spiritual centre, and in the middle, if I zoom in, you can see the Temple of the Sun, or Torion, with the priest house next to it, or the House of the Nusta. Here's the central sacred plaza. Down here is the industrial centre and the Temple of the Condor area. Up here is the place where the Intihuatana, the hitching post, is. And then more terraces and more. There's Huayna Picchu. Alright, let's move on.
So here we are, in the overlooking the courtyard of the Coricancha, the Sacred Heart of the Incan Empire. You will see obviously this fountain in the middle, and you can see the four lines going off at diagonals. So these actually represent the four kingdoms that you saw on the
you know, the colourful painting a second ago, the Sekway. Yeah, and like obviously it also points north, like north, south, east and west as well. Obviously we're looking pretty fairly on, and as you can see, it's a very busy site. Lots of people come to the Koi Cancha every day, and I just love the mix of Spanish and Incan as well. Alright, catch up with you in a bit. Bye. Right, I'm back in the hotel, guys. I'm just killing a bit of time now until it's time to go to get the bus to the next location. Should be leaving the hotel, I don't know, around about 8 o'clock, so still got a good few hours to kill, so I'm just sat here relaxing. One thing I did forget to mention earlier on the tour, as Javier rightly said when we were in Ollantaytambo, all the Incan buildings have a lean of like 13-14 degrees. In fact, you would have seen it on one of the pictures at the Koi Cancha today, what the lean looks like. Strangely enough, interestingly, Cusco is actually located 13 or 14 degrees from the equator line, so that's interesting. 13-14 degrees from the equator and 13-14 degrees on the wall. Coincidence maybe? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to relax now for a little bit, and then I'm going to catch up with you when we're on the bus down to our next location. See you in a bit. Bye! Okay guys, welcome back. The time's probably now about 9:45 in the evening. Just got on the bus to go down to our next location. We'll be leaving soon. It's going to be an overnight bus. We're probably going to get to the next location about 6 in the morning. So I'm going to sign off right now for the 17th of July 2018, and I will see you tomorrow when we get to our next location. See you in a bit. Bye.